angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our words of stone are ashes and we both passed on, let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. Wow, so I've got what's probably going to be a little bit of a touchy topic for the monologue today. It is what it is, but I've got a couple of things beforehand. The topic I'm going to talk in response to a video we watched here on the show the other night, and it was from Pastor Dowell, and it was discussing MGTOW, or men going their own way, and I can't get that video out of my head, and so I felt like maybe there's a reason why I can't get it out of my head. I feel like there's a lot that I have to say and put into here, because, well, I'll get into that in just a moment. It is what it is. There are a couple of quick things I do want to cover before we get into all that good stuff. As far as Watchman news updates, really none to speak of other than something that has also been bouncing around in my head that I'm considering doing. And it could even happen as soon as tomorrow. I don't know. I'm still bouncing it around my head. And what that is I've been thinking about doing Friday episodes and call them Free Time Friday. And essentially what that would be, obviously, you know, Prepper Nurse 1, we join up with him at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday, and that runs to the end of our show. So what I would do, that's an hour there. My monologues, generally, I try to target about an hour between me talking and reading the news and stuff like that, so that's another hour. And that leaves 2 hours left. And so what I'm bouncing around in my head is possibly doing something along the lines of what everybody else does when they do live streams. And I'm not doing it because everybody else does it. I do it because I see a purpose and I see a use behind it, or that's why I'm considering doing it. It would basically be, I would come on, I would do my monologue. Once the monologue was all done, I covered the news. Once all that was all done, then instead of playing a bunch of video content, I would be more or less paying attention to the chat and responding to questions or trying to find information for people that are wondering about this or that. And I'm thinking about incorporating that into our Friday shows. Again, it's something that I've just been kind of bouncing around my head for the last week or so. It is what it is. Part 2 of, before we get down to business here, I do want to let everybody know we do have an Etsy store. And at that Etsy store, we put, we put all of our products on a sale, no shipping. And basically what it is, and I guess I should have, I'll put the link, for those that watch this monologue, the link not only to, because I will put a link to Pastor Dowell's video that I'm going to be referring to. The link to that will be in the description. I'll also put the link to this code. Now, this code is only going to be good until, I think it's the 12th. Yeah, the 12th of April, of course, 2019. And what it's going to be is for free shipping on our products. So, real quick, you guys probably don't know. A lot of it don't really apply to here. It doesn't, but I just figured I would let you guys know. The code, by the way, is FYO shipping. It's kind of a, you have to know the Blue October story behind it, right? FYO shipping, all one word, FYO shipping. It has to do with the story and really has to do with a couch, or lamp, I'm sorry, a lamp. And anyway, I won't get into all that, but what we have on there that you may be more interested in is we do have a couple of Walking Dead cups, and we have a patriotic flag and eagle mug. So, again, The prices you see there is the price it would cost because the shipping would be free. So if you're into The Walking Dead, and I probably won't be making any of these cups anymore. They're probably, that's it. We've got those in stock here, and so I'm trying to clear out stock of that. Plus, I'm trying to give the Blue October fans a good deal on a sale, because now is the time that people get out there. They want to put bling on their car. We have had quite a few sales recently for our Blue October decals. I know it looks small in the picture, but those are actually 31.5 inches wide, the Blue October decals. They go on, ideally they go on the back window of a car. So we do have that going on again. Again, the code is FYO shipping, FYOSHIPPING. You can either put that in the coupon code at checkout, or I will leave a link in the description of this video. Again, that'll be good until the 12th of April, 2019. So anyway, I thought I would let everybody know, because we may have some Walking Dead fans here. One of the cups is the Rick cup. It's a cup with Rick's picture on it, his name on it, and Walking Dead. And the other one's Carl. So it is what it is. I was going to make up cups for, the main cast members, and I just, it just, believe it or not, it wasn't garnering a lot of attention. So, but anyway, that's what we have in stock yet. We've got one of each of those in stock, so they're on there. I'll put the link in the description. If you want to find our page on Etsy, it's we're known as Disabled by Design. So simple enough, Disabled by Design. You can go to etsy.com/shop/Disabled by Design, and it'll take you right to it. So, or click the link in the description. So, okay, now that I've got that out of the way, and that wasn't just a shameless quick plug, but we're running the sale, so I figured I would let people know. Seems like there was another order of business that I needed to cover before we get into everything. Don't forget about the Amazon link. If you shop Amazon, the link is also in the description of the video. However, that is not what I was going to discuss. Oh yeah, now I remember. So I had an odd dream last night, and I share my dream with you guys when I have one, because it's very rare I have a dream. Most of the time, I can tell whether or not the dream is prophetic or not, because all of my life I've had prophetic dreams. I'm not saying all of my dreams have been prophetic, but all of my life, as I recall, I have had prophetic dreams from time to time. And I don't dream very often. Last night, the one thing about the prophetic dreams is the location. Okay, if it's a totally odd location and things are just, or if it's a somewhat familiar location but there's a bunch of stuff out of place, it's not prophetic, and I know that, right? Last night was interesting because everything was in place except for some pretty major things. Okay, but as far as physically, everything was in place. So let me tell you real quick what went on. My dad had, and my dad's passed away, by the way. That would be the biggest thing that's out of place. Okay, my dad's passed away. He's been passed away for quite some time. And he had called and wanted us to go home and get together. Okay, now when I say go home, I'm talking about where I was raised at, the home I was raised in. And so I know that my youngest brother, which I don't talk to anybody in my family, my youngest brother had showed up, and Jen was with me, and which is odd, because that's another thing that seems out of place in dreams, is Jen's not there, right? I've noticed that, if I've got whacked out dreams, a lot of times Jen's not there, but if I've got not so whacked out dreams, Jen's there. It's weird, I don't know. Anyway, so we go there, and the house is much the same that it was. I didn't see a whole lot of the inside, just basically one area, which was the utility room when we were in there, when we lived there, and the garage. So anyway, my dad had a van, and I don't know, somehow I damaged the van. I don't remember that part of the dream. Somehow something I did damaged the van. Nonetheless, Dad had to go somewhere, and I want to say that my mom was with him. I want to say she was with him, and so he had left and said he would be back. And I'm there, Jen's there, and I think my little brother's there. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a different van and a Humvee comes barreling in the driveway. The Humvee comes barreling into the garage, right? And I noticed the windows on the back of the Humvee were darkened. I really couldn't see in them, but I could see in the front windows, and there was an elderly lady in the passenger seat. And I'm talking 70-ish, 80-ish years old, elderly. And then there was a woman, probably 40s, I would say, and driving the Humvee. The three passengers, or I should say the driver and two of the passengers got out. The elderly lady stayed in the Humvee. The woman got out with two males, probably in their 30s or so, all of them carrying M4s. And they got out and they came around to the door. I was standing at the door leading into the garage, and I addressed them. I said, look, I don't know what's going on here, but you're not going to take over this home. It's not going to happen. And I really don't remember a whole lot other than that, and other than standing my ground. There wasn't a firefight, there wasn't a battle, but it seemed like there was a dialogue that we were having, and it didn't get to that level. But that was it. That's it. I don't know why I told you. It's weird. It's strange. So that happened, and like I say, it's pretty rare for me to have. It's really rare for me to have a dream. Okay, so let's get on to the topic at hand. Let me have a sip of coffee here. So, Pastor Dowell made a video the other night, and he discussed something called MGTOW, is how I pronounce it. Maybe incorrect. Men going their own way. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this video, and I never really looked in it before because I'm not into identity politics. I don't play those games. We are all equal. Every one of us are created equal, and there is no exceptions, not one single exception. It doesn't matter what role you play. It doesn't matter what nationality you are, what gender you are. None of it matters. We are all equal, every single one of us. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what kind of job you have, what God you worship. It doesn't matter. We are all equal. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to really grasp, okay? Because a lot of people will say they're for equality, and it's the same thing when they say they're for freedom, right? Oh yeah, I believe in freedom, I believe in the Constitution, blah, 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 blah. That guy needs to quit doing that. Wait a minute. So are you for freedom for all or just freedom for you? You see, and we run into the same problem when we start getting into these special interest groups, okay? And it's pretty much any special interest group. You name the special interest group, and what you will find is people that aren't looking for equality. They're looking for something more than equality, okay? They're wanting to be treated differently or better, okay? And in my opinion, that's wrong. We should all be equal, right? So, you know, I'm sitting there, and I think Pastor Dowell, that was the most in-depth that I've heard this MGTOW movement explained. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I get what he's saying. And the reason why, and I'm not talking about towards the end where he starts talking about his beliefs in his ministry, okay, because in his ministry, the women are pretty submissive, okay? Remember what I said. I believe in all being created equal, okay? I believe that one of the things that Jesus, because, yes, you can go back biblically, and I can sit here and show you biblically where women aren't supposed to speak unless spoken to and yada, 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 okay? But that's Old Testament, Okay, Old Testament. There's a lot of things that changed from Old Testament to New Testament. Okay, and if we are going to recognize Jesus as our Savior, or Yeshua, however you want to pronounce his name, if we are going to recognize him as our Savior, then don't you think we should go by his teachings? Now, it was in his teachings that we were all equal, every one of us. Okay, women wasn't placed apart from that. So I don't, the whole thing, women should be submissive and not speak unless spoken to and all that, that don't jive with me at all. We're equal. So I wanted to make that clear, because for those that watch his video, I don't want you to misunderstand where I'm coming from. But what I heard him explaining is that it was just a group of men that was just tired of the nonsense, that was tired of the riffraff, tired of being taken for a ride everywhere they turn, simply because in many cases, like the court systems, will allow for it. Now, there is one viewpoint. Well, there's a lot of viewpoints with Pastor Dowell that I tend to agree with. One of his viewpoints is about marriage and about how you don't have to go to the state to be married. In fact, you shouldn't go to the state to get married. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Because, for one, what power does the state have? A marriage is between a man and a woman and God. Okay? So where's the state fit into that? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Until it comes to divorce court, and then the man, many times, gets taken to the cleaners. So, and again, I'm not playing identity politics. I'm speaking facts. You know, you could sit there and look over court case after court case after court case and back up the words that I'm saying. So I kind of get, and I realize that, you know, I've kind of had a lot of the same attitudes, and I've taken a lot of the same actions that he was talking about, because, again, he was saying that it's more or less men that are tired of the games, tired of the shenanigans, okay? And, you know, one of the things they do is, for one, you know, they respect themselves, and they won't get themselves involved in all that kind of a mess anymore. And I'm all for that. Why not? Why wouldn't somebody be involved in somebody having enough self-respect that they're not going to let somebody else bring them down? You're going to see where I'm going with this in a moment, okay? You know, I get that. And the other aspect that I recall him talking about is how they are raising awareness of this to others and talking to others. And, you know, I've often asked myself, you know, advice to my kids. If I had a chance to give just a few bits of advice to my children, what would that be? What few things would it be that would top the list of important things to tell them? And on that list is definitely be very, very, very careful of who you choose as a partner. Okay? And that breaks down into a lot of subcategories. Okay? But that's true, right? And that goes for either sex. It goes for anybody. It goes for any reason. We'll be getting into that in a moment. But yeah, there's no problem with warning for that. Not at all. The only way I would see people would hold problem with it is if they want to get over on somebody. If we all want to be equal, if we all want to be respected equally and treat each other equally, then nobody should have a problem with any of this. There's a lot of ripples that I have seen as a result of these special interest groups, these special interests, especially in the feminist movement. You know, and I've had this happen to me, one of the frustrating things is, you know, men constantly get berated on because, you know, it's been said, oh, there's no, you know, gentlemen left, there's no chivalry left, right? But how does a man know today? Because some women, if you go and you open a car door or whatnot for them, or a door at the store, okay, some women will berate men for that. Well, I'm not helpless. No, nobody ever indicated that. Nobody ever indicated. I was berated one time for opening a door at, I think, Walmart for a woman. And she read me the riot act. Read me the riot act for opening a door. Now, I didn't open that door because there was a woman approaching it. I opened that door because there was a human approaching it. And that was something that my dad taught me a long time ago. I don't care if you're man, woman, young, old. I don't care. If I'm walking up to the door and you are walking up behind me, I will grab that door and I will open it and I will allow you to enter and I will go in after you. Jen, have you seen me do that? She said, yeah. That's me. That's how I was raised. It's called being considerate. Not being chauvinistic, not being... So see, this is where there's a problem. We have to divide everybody up into their little boxes and all that, and we have to be a dictator over how they act and how they, do every little part of their lives, right? Enough. Enough. My biggest issue, though, with this whole MGTOW thing is because it involves identity politics, right? My biggest issue, because we need to get away from that. We need to get away from that. But at the same time, we need a group of individuals in this country and around the world, right, that unite and stand strong in decency and morality, in the end to all these identity politics and all these games and all this nonsense that we see happening in the world. Okay? Text them, let them know. I'll call them in a moment. So anyway, I got to thinking about this. I'm telling you that this has been, ever since I watched that video, this has been on my mind. And today, as I was thinking about it, it hit me. It hit me that it's not, we need to get the identity politics out of this. Maybe it's not something like MGTOW that we need, men going their own way. Maybe what we really need is something more like HGTOW, humans going their own way, right? Because the moment that you bring in an identity there, and if you, I'm sure somebody out there would consider me saying the word humans as identity politics, but it's not. Those are probably the kind of people that I'm referring to that we need to, quell the nonsense. But I like that. Humans going their own way, right? And it's just a group of people that are morally conscious, that understand what true equality is across all nationalities, sexes, races, religions, yada, yada, yada. Okay? And say, look, anybody that, says, hey, we want to be a part of these upstanding individuals. We want to be a part of a group that wants to treat everybody fairly and demand fair treatment. Okay, because it's all in the same. Maybe we can turn some things around. Maybe we can get some equality back in the world. I didn't, when I was thinking through this stuff today, this whole HGTOW, this humans going their own way, just popped in my head, and which told me, okay, I need to be speaking about this. I think it's so anyway, it's been, believe it or not, it's been even a hectic day today, and yeah, it's been I've been pretty busy today. which I got something cool to show you here in a little bit after I'm done. I didn't plan. I'm going to show you an article that I put out today, and I didn't plan on it. In fact, I wrote down, all I have on a piece of paper here is written down is HGTOW, not MGTOW. That's all I've got. I'm sitting here holding the paper in my hand looking at it. That was all of my scripting or planning for this video. The rest of it was all thinking. And as I'm sharing out news, okay, I run across this article out of RT. U.S. college offers angry white males course. White men get angry. Well, yeah, you damn straight. Enough. Enough. You know what? I'm a white male. I'm not responsible how men treated women in the past. I don't want to hear about it. I'm not responsible how white men had slaves in the past. I've never owned a slave. Period. I think both things are wrong. So to slap me with that is doing nothing but deflecting and projecting blame on somebody that did not do any wrong. Or did not do that wrong. Let me rephrase that. And that's why I'm saying we do need something. We do need people that stand up and say enough of this nonsense. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to gather our group of people that are, and again, you know, I hate the idea of any type of segregation, but at this point, what's left? So you gather all the people that want to be morally decent people and want to be civil to one another and truly want to be equal with one another and truly want to merit those for what they do. And then all those that just want to point fingers and blame and step down on other people. Because that's all that this stuff is doing. That's all it is doing. It's stepping down on people. It's ridiculous. Angry white males course. So I guess now every single white male is angry. They've got to, you know why white males are getting more and more upset? And I will agree, there is a large number of white males that are starting to get upset. Why? Because they're tired of being called chauvinist. They're tired of being called sexist. They're tired of being called racist. Any damn ist word you can come up with seems to get applied to them today. And they're getting tired of it. I know I can only speak for myself, but I just want to live in peace. That's it. I want to help others where I can. I want to try to leave as little of a negative mark on this world as what I can, and as much of a positive mark as I can. I want to try to make something of my life. I want to try to be, as important of a piece of history as I can. And it's not because I want recognition. It's not because I want kudos. I could care less about any of that. I just want to help improve the world. And that's why I'm ready to give truth and be berated for that. Because yes, I get berated for the truth. My life has been turned upside down from being berated for telling the truth. And I'm not the only one. Not the only one. It's getting old. I want to fix it. Not just for me, but for all the people I possibly can. We're getting divided up on purpose. Okay? Because the more divided we are, the easier we are to conquer. We're being divided up on purpose. Now, there are those of us that have been sitting here trying to say, stop. Leave me alone. but it's to no avail. We still get these agendas, we still get these ideals and all this stuff crammed down our throats. At some point, you're going to push back. Anybody that gets backed in a corner and consistently told they've either done something they haven't, or they are somebody they're not, or what, they're going to strike back. Sadly, in this world, in this victimhood society, when that person strikes back, then all of a sudden, the person that they're actually defending themselves against claims victim. I see it nonstop in this world. I see it nonstop in this world. And there's not a lot that's being done to fix it. There's a case that has went on. Let me have a sip of coffee here. I forget where it's at. I think I shared the news article. Let me find it. Let me have a sip of coffee. And this plays directly into the problem in which I speak of, okay? Okay, not that one. This one. Plays exactly into what I speak of. Now, I love my God, your God, our God, because sometimes He puts His hand on my shoulder and He just gives me a little nudge, and He'll either give me a nudge to do something or to not do something. And you can believe it or not, I don't care. But I'm going through the news, a couple of days ago or whatnot, when this was in the news, and I seen the headline. And it's like I felt, and I'm speaking, metaphorically is the word here. It's like I felt Him put His hand on my shoulder as I was getting ready to bring up the article and share it. And it's like I just felt Him, and I felt Him pulling me back. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, boss. Because, as I've said many times before, I've got one authority, and that authority is God. And I will do everything I can to serve Him and to do His will. So I didn't share the story. There was a reason why I didn't share that story. Largely because it's a plain out lie. Plain out lie. So let's get into this. This will help you understand. Again, hopefully, people that are watching this or watching the recording of this, hopefully they're not stuck in the men identity politics. Okay? Because that's not what I'm saying. Again, I'm for the idea of humans going their own way. Humans. Because I'd like to see equality, true equality. So anyway, let me read this here. A call came into the police Monday from a woman in a West Virginia mall saying a man had tried to kidnap her 5-year-old in an Old Navy store. She pulled a gun on the alleged abductor and he took off. Police responded, saw the man in the mall food court, and arrested him. The woman is white. The man is from Egypt. I like how they worded that, don't you? The man is from Egypt, right? Headlines read, Mom scares off kidnapper with gun and the like. And that's roughly what I saw. But what happened next has many outraged and calling her motives racist. Police call it a quote-unquote cultural misunderstanding. Because after a copious investigation with the man locked up and held on a high bond, she's recanted her story. But Mohammed Fadi Hussein Zayan, 56, an engineer from Egypt, in the U.S. on a work visa, was arrested and booked on felony charges and held on a $200,000 bond. Police now say Zion, and I'm sure I'm saying this wrong, my apologies, was patting the child on the head and smiling. Though police in Barbersville have so far declined to officially name her, Adams was repeatedly identified on the police department Facebook page. And while it initially appeared she would not be charged, prosecutors are discussing and investigating charges against her. This is bullshit, to be quite frank, and you'll see that. Santana Wallace Adams shuttered her Facebook when images of her began circulating, but her Twitter remains, albeit a near 8-year-old account. In photos, Adam proudly displays her holstered handgun. Efforts to reach Adams by Heavy were unsuccessful. Here's what you need to know. I hate these articles. Here's what you need to know. But it is what it is. Number 1, Adams claimed Zion grabbed her daughter by the hair and tried to abduct her, only to release the child when Adams pointed a gun at him. The daughter backed up her mom's story, police said. Shortly after 6 p.m. on Monday, April 1st, a 911 call was made to Cabell County from Adams, who told dispatchers that while she was in a department store, a male suspect of Middle Eastern descent attempted to grab her 5-year-old daughter by the hair and abduct her from the store. Okay. She told police that she pulled out a firearm and the male suspect fled the scene. She said she reported it to mall security, and they and Barbersville police observed the male suspect, as described by the female witness, walking near the food court and detained him. Police said they got a statement from Adams and the girl, and they arrested Zion based on those statements. Then Adams went to the police department and provided a more detailed description of what happened, verifying her previous verbal statement. In the police department's original post on the alleged attempted kidnapping and arrest of Zion, hundreds of people applauded Adams for packing and protecting her child. Glad she was carrying and able to protect her baby. I stand for the right to carry guns. I applaud this mother. I'm sure she was grateful to have her child safe at home with her tonight because of her actions. Now, had this story been true, I would be in that boat, okay? But by the next morning, her story begins to unravel. Okay, number 2, there were no witnesses, and after talking to Adams again, cops found inconsistencies in her tale and kept digging. Okay, and we're going to play the video in a second. Police said by the following morning, as detectives continued the investigation by returning to the mall store where the alleged incident happened and examining video evidence along with other investigative procedures, revealed some inconsistency with the female's witness' original statement. No witnesses to the alleged crime could be found. Cops called Adams and told her to come back to police headquarters. Actually, I don't think we'll need to play the video, especially in the interest of time. You'll get the gist. There's enough information here. During the interview with the female witness, detectives discovered more inconsistencies to the original statement. Female witnesses, the mother of the child, eventually told detectives that she might have misjudged the suspect's actions, overreacted to the uninvited touching of her daughter, and misinterpreted the intentions of the male suspect. The more she thought about it, the more she realized it might have just been a cultural misunderstanding, and that the suspect might have just been patting her daughter on the head and smiling. The subsequent account and explanation has many people angry, myself included. Okay, now don't get me wrong, okay? I don't think you should go around touching other people's children, okay? I don't think you should do that, okay? It's just not cool, okay? Leave your hands off people's children that you don't know, you know? I mean, to me that's common sense. But we have to understand, and this is where the truth of the cultural difference comes, okay? Maybe in Egypt, people aren't so uptight. Plain and simple. Because this whole issue with All of this it stems from stranger danger in the 80s. Okay, before that time period, nobody would think twice. In most cases, nobody would think twice. If somebody walked up and they patted your child on the head, big old smile, you know, I can remember being given a quarter or something like that by an old man one time. Just walked up and gave me a quarter. Right, I think I was looking at the gumball machines in the store, and an old man walked up and gave me a quarter. Right, so my mom didn't pull her Glock on him. You know, I mean, come on. You know, I mean, again, I didn't forget. I didn't forget, and I know what this country has become, and I know why. It was social engineering, and it's largely destroyed this country. And I mean all forms of the social engineering. Anyway, let me continue. The girl who has now ruined a man's life by lying, first it was he dragged her daughter off by her hair till she scared him away. Then it turned to a cultural misunderstanding because he may have patted her daughter on the head. So if she didn't know for sure something was happening, she should be charged for threatening the man with a firearm. Can someone please explain to me why this man is still in jail? And I'm in this boat right here. Right? If that's all it was, she should be charged for pulling her weapon on that man. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Okay? Police aren't charging Adams, and some residents are, and this is number 3 by the way, and some residents are demanding action, but not all. Plenty of folks say she was a scared mother and was justified. There's those emotions for you, okay? There's those emotions for you. No logic in that, but emotions. A person that was in the mall is furious. In an Instagram post, they said that the false claim that someone tried to steal her child at the Huntington Mall and had me and everyone else in the area scared as hell. On the Barboursville Police Department Facebook page, nearly 800 comments have been posted, with a seeming majority of folks are not happy with Adam's bogus story and the fact that police haven't officially named or charged her, though she has been publicly identified. Post her name and her photo. This man had it done to him. Now's the time for her to get the same treatment. Among the more popular or liked comments are, what didn't make sense to me was the fact they arrested him in the food court after this happened. If he had tried to abduct this child, why would he have stuck around the mall? It's sad how quickly this man was judged by everyone, including myself. Her picture should be plastered all over the internet and news just like his was, and she should pay for his overnight stay in jail by spending the night there also. And I was wondering the same million-dollar question too when I originally read the article the other day. Why did the guy stick around the mall? That made no sense to me. Now it does. Because he didn't do anything really wrong, other than the fact that, yeah, people are uptight. Don't even look at him. Cultural difference, LOL. She meant prejudice. Not everyone commenting on the Barboursville police social media was critical of her. She was a scared mother who did what she thought was right at the time, and who knows, he may have had those bad intentions. He was a stranger danger. Stranger danger. He was a stranger who uninvitedly touched a child. I damn sure would have pulled a gun too. Wow. And by the way, these same people think it's perfectly fine to shoot an unarmed black person in the back, because they were running away. The same type of people, by the way. Just want to point that out. That may be the only reason that little girl is still here. What? And as for his reputation, if everything checks out fine, he will be released with no charges, and therefore his reputation will be just fine. I'm glad this lady's a judge, right? I'm assuming, lady, I could be wrong. Maybe he will learn his lesson as to not touch a stranger's child. You know what? I bet he's already learned that lesson. I bet he already knows. I think he's probably figured that out by now. Number 4. As of early Thursday, was still facing charges. But by early afternoon, the county prosecutor dropped its case against Zion. So that's good. That's actually an update, because when I read this morning, it had not been dropped, okay? But he's still facing charges. WSAZ reported that while Zion's bond was reduced Tuesday and that he was released to his family after posting bail, the prosecutor hasn't made a decision on whether or not to pursue the case against Zion. So again, this has been updated a little bit. Good deal. Zion's attorney told WSAZ that he has thoroughly and diligently investigated this case, and there is absolutely no evidence to support any charges of wrongdoing against Mr. Zion. We have consulted with local law enforcement officials, and we are convinced there is no evidence to support these charges at all. However, the ultimate decision rests with the prosecutor, and as we wait for his decision, we will continue to zealously advocate for Mr. Zion. Thursday, County Prosecutor Sean Corky, gotta be a great guy, he's got a nickname, Hammers, dropped all charges against Zion. Good thing. After a complete review of all the evidence collected in the case, and after lengthy conversations with detectives and the chief of police of the Barboursville Police Department, I do not believe any provable criminal offense exists against Mr. Zion. The charge of attempted abduction will be dismissed today, and no other charges will be filed against him regarding the above-referenced incident. Good. This is all update, folks. I'm reading this stuff here for the very first time. This is all updates. This is awesome. This is awesome. And I appreciate them doing the right thing. Okay? Yes, I get it. It's an uptight society. He should keep his hands off of people's children. I get that. It's a different world than when I was a child. Okay? But to pull a gun on him for patting a little girl on the head and smiling, that's a little excessive, okay? And then to turn around and I get it that they were told that, man, I'm all for innocent until proven guilty, okay? So in other words, yeah, show up. There's an issue, okay? Put the guy in the cuffs, right? Get the video surveillance from the mall. Once you see that all the guy did was pat the girl on the head and smile, take him out of the damn cuffs. Why did he spend a night, even a night, in jail? Why did he? It makes no sense to me. Anyway, number 5, the NRA's Dana Loesch praised Adams as a lawfully armed mama protecting her child from being kidnapped, but Adams admits she made it up. So I don't know if there's no, there's not. That's it. So again, this goes back to what I'm saying. This woman here obviously has got an issue. Okay, plain and simple. She's got an issue. All right. That's not my problem, or it shouldn't be my problem. It shouldn't be your problem. It shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? And I told that story to reference what I'm talking about humans going their own way. Okay, we need decent humans that aren't interested in judging one another, aren't interested in putting each other in a hierarchy. Okay, just people that want to be decent people with common decency and common sense, that want to treat other people equally and will expect no less than to be treated equally. And that's why you're seeing the groups like this MGTOW come about. Okay, I think that Pastor Dowell did a very good job of explaining it. Did a very good job of it. We can either ignore what's going on and not fix anything, or we can address it. But you can damn well bet there's going to be people not happy no matter what you do, what route you go. So maybe this is the thing. Maybe, and again, I'm not promoting the MGTOW because I think that brings in identity politics. But although I know somebody out there would have a problem with HGTOW, humans going their own way, because then they would be like, oh well, I'm not a human. I'm I don't know, whatever they identify themselves as, right? Whatever. You know, that's exactly the whole point of this is to shed the nonsense, right? You know, when it comes to which brings me to I'm going to try to wrap up my part of the monologue here and get to the news and stuff. Which brings me kind of to another point that I'd been thinking about here over the past few days. There's a lot of a rift, especially between religions. Okay, so as you know or should know by now, that doesn't exist with me. I don't care, you know, what God you worship. I don't care if you don't worship a God. That's fine. You know, I'm not going to sit there and group you and say, well, you know what, all Baptists are like Westboro Baptist Church. It's not true. Okay? Just as equally, I'm not going to say, well, all Muslims are you know, believe in Islam and want Sharia law. That is not true. Okay? Now I forgot the name of it already. The Westboro Baptist Church is a very, very small group of Baptists. Okay? A small group of Baptists. So you shouldn't look down on all Baptists because of those whack jobs. Okay? Same as the Islamists, right, and those calling for Sharia law. They make up a very small portion of Muslims. Very small portion of Muslims. The only reason why it even seems like it's larger than what it is because it's thrown in your face all the time. So, again, don't judge all Muslims because of that small number of whack jobs. But I've got a solution. I do. Right? So you take all these so-called Christians, quote-unquote Christians, right, that want to do away with the Muslims because they're all bad, they're all dirty, they all want to kill us, they all want to take over the world, right? You take all those fruitcakes and you put them together with all the Islamist fruitcakes that truly do want to take over the world, not the peaceful, loving Muslims, but the ones that do want to commit jihad, the ones that do want to force everybody to do everything their way, okay, and you take them and you put them on an island and you send them a bunch of arms, okay? Make it an island way out there. No chance of them assholes swimming back here, okay? And then you tell them the last man or woman alive wins. Okay? Make sure they've got enough ammo. Make sure they've got all the firepower they need. Right? And then when they're all done and there's that last person standing, you go out to the island and you shoot them in the fucking head. Because we don't need that. We don't need that. And again, what I just stated supports what I'm talking about with this MGTOW. Humans going their own way. People that want to be decent to one another, people that want to respect one another, and people that damn well want to be respected. Because there's many of us in this mess that's all we want to do. We want to live and let live. And we get surrounded by so many agendas and so many ideals and so much bullshit that we're not able to do that. So anyway, that's my piece on it. I don't know. Hopefully, I got out of me whatever I got out of me, so I can stop thinking about Pastor Dowell's video. But I understood a lot of the viewpoint there. I got it. Be a victim of it long enough, you'll get it. Plain and simple. You want to fix a problem, don't go to the people that created the problem. I love that one. Everybody wants the government to fix everything when typically, usually, the government caused it. And they're the problem. You know? You want to fix the problem, go to the people that are affected by it. That's how you fix the problem. Anyway, let me run through the headlines. This monologue's going to be a little long today, I assume. I'll try to read through these as quickly as possible. Although, I do need to real quick show you this. Okay, here we go. AccuWeather's 2019 Atlantic hurricane season forecast. Look at that. Look at that. After an active Atlantic hurricane season in 2018, AccuWeather forecasters are predicting 2019 to result in a near to slightly above normal season with 12 to 14 storms. Okay, but somewhere I've seen in here, let's see, after the U.S. took a battering in 2018, thanks largely to Michael and Florence, meteorologists are once again forecasting impacts for the United States. According to Katalos, I don't know, 2 to 4 are likely. Okay? 2 to 4 are likely. So there's an increase in these storms. I'm telling you, this is something I've been talking about. And again, I'll repeat myself. This year is nothing. Wait until next year. Next year, winter and next summer, you are going to see something that will just have your jaw dropped open. Okay? Because we are entering that phase of pole shift. So, it is what it is. You'll see. Don't take my word for it. You'll see. Get ready for it, though. Please get ready for it. This is another one that was in there. Surveillance video shows police officer push Muslim man to the ground. That happened in Country Club Hill, Missouri. There's no apparent reason why he did it. So I'll let you figure it out. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's not just 67 years old or something. It was an old man. It was an old man. Shoved him right on the ground like it was a pile of trash. Do you know what I mean? We need to fix this stuff. That ain't right. U.S. must choose between Turkey and terrorists. Ankara, I'll get it right. Probably still don't have it right. Slaps Pence with counter ultimatum. Okay, billions in U.S. funds and equipment lost to out-of-control corruption in Afghanistan. Wasn't me. Post-Russiagate Dems pin hopes on Trump tax returns, stubbornly avoid real issues as 2020 looms. The reason I shared this is because we just, we just got done with the no collusion thing, and now we're back on the taxes. This has got to stop, right? Okay, we get it. You don't like them. I'm not a big fan of them. But you know what? Let them, let them breathe. Damn, I voted the first term. I voted for Obama. Within a few months of him in office, I wanted him out. Okay? But I didn't sit there, and I know many did, but I didn't sit there and berate him. Right? I realized the mistake I made. I wasn't going to vote for him again, and I didn't. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I mean, they know how many damn hairs he has in his toothbrush. They did such a thorough investigation. Right? Bristles. I was thinking the right word, not hairs, bristles. Sorry. Bad visual there when I said hairs, I'm sure. He brushes his hair with his toupee. What? Maduro places troops on high alert, accuses U.S. of rehearsing new form of warfare in Venezuela. U.S. college offers angry white... I've already talked about that. Let's see. Venezuela keeps oil exports stable despite U.S. sanctions and blackouts. Boeing must review 737 MAX flight control system. Pilots followed recommended procedures. It's coming from Ethiopia. Australia threatens tech giants with jail and fines for spread of violent content after Christchurch. Well, good thing I'm not a tech giant, because you know what? It's on my website. You got to ask for the link, though. UK police ready 10,000 riot police officers as fears Brexit tensions could worsen. You hear that? I'll tell you what, they're concerned over there, and they damn well better be, right? That country, along with the people in France and all that, they're tired of it. They're done with it, right? They saw people from Iceland stand up, right? Although that word about that doesn't really get very far, right? But they watched it happen in Greece. Okay, people are done, and it's coming here too. Coming to a town near you soon. I have a sip of coffee because it's in the contract. Okay, Manti. That's okay. You read it. I'll sit here. No, major anti-aging breakthrough as magic bullet targets zombie cells. So, I wonder if that'll work against, like, real zombies, if it'll bring them back to human. I don't know. But that's crazy. Thin skin, question mark, French. Wow. I took a sip of coffee and now I can't spoke. French police union says, Pee on a Cop children's song is an incitement to terrorism. So now a children's song, right, can be deemed as terrorism. Am I hearing this right? You know, I warned a long time ago, back after the Boston, I can't even speak from memory correctly, the Boston Marathon bombing. I was speaking out back then because they wanted to change what would be considered a weapon of mass destruction. And I spoke out and I raised hell. Because I'm sorry, a pressure cooker bomb, okay, whether you believe the official account of what happened there or not, has nothing to do with that, right? I do know the facts. The facts are they declared martial law. They unconstitutionally went house to house and did searches. Those are all facts, right, that we can verify, that we could see with our own eyes. But I raised hell when they wanted to be able to declare a pressure cooker bomb as a weapon of mass destruction. I raised hell at that. You have to be careful about those types of changes, okay? Same as you have to be very careful of what they're allowed to slap the terrorism label on, okay? Need I remind you, the NDAA 2012 will allow them to scoop you up and take you away and nobody see you again, and they don't have to give you legal defense. They can torture you. They don't even have to give a reason. All they have to do is say you were suspected of terrorism. That's all they have to say. Okay? So, how would you like to be scooped up, black bag, and get mode because you sang a children's song about peeing on a cop? I'm just saying. Think about that. Trump's trade wars will not reduce the U.S. trade deficit. That's coming from the International Monetary Fund. Okay, this isn't coming from some RT analyst opinion guy. Okay, this is coming from the IMF. Trump's trade wars will not reduce the U.S. trade deficit. Probably a little important to pay attention to. Creepy Joe Biden accused of I hate when they use words like that. Creepy Joe Biden accused of impropriety by 3 more women. In other words, he was creepy with 3 more women that have come forward now. So, I mean, you can count way more women just by watching videos of the guy, right? So this is not surprising. Events in Venezuela are similar to what happened in Syria, Assad tells visiting foreign minister. A U.S. nuclear strikes most reasonable response if Russia invades, says Polish ex-army chief says. Something like that. And by the way, notice the language there. They've been ramping up this language and this ideal about, first strikes. Okay, first strikes. That's something that should be paid attention to as well. Pardon me. Facebook paying UK newspaper The Telegraph to publish glowing coverage amid scandals. How do you like that? Right? But They want to censor what you put on Facebook, right? But they want to be able to pay for lies, right? They want to censor truth from us on Facebook, but they want to pay for lies on another publication. Nice. Goldman Sachs boss shows up in Saudi Arabia as uproar over Khashoggi killing fades. Russian sovereign bonds selling like hotcakes as demand breaks all-time record. Russia adds $2.4 billion to its foreign exchange reserves in 1 week. Congress votes to withdraw U.S. support from Saudi-led Yemen war. That's good news. Art of the deal, Trump ups Mexico grace period for ending illegal immigration from a week to a year. How do you like that? He's backpedaling again. How many times have we called out backpedaling from Trump? I couldn't tell you the amount of times we've called him out for backpedaling, starting with the lock her up thing, which he backpedaled on like the first week he was in office. He backpedaled on doing something about Hillary. Okay, and we've consistently called him out. Look at this. You understand he got 57 of the miles out of over 1,000 miles. He got 57 miles of wall paid for. That's it. That's it. Okay. He just what was the thing that he did yesterday? They did yesterday. The letting the immigrants in. They just like upped it, right? The Trump administration, because of all of these immigrants at the border, they upped it. He's going backwards, completely backwards from what he said he was going to do. Okay, and I'm not here to argue any of that other than the fact that, folks, we need to wake up. He's not who he says he is. Okay, that's my whole point. He's not who he says he is. He's a politician. He's a politician. As politicians always do, they lie. Pompeo urges France not to tax American tech firms as competition with China heats up. Absolutely ridiculous. Why do we get the idea that we can tell these other countries what to do in these areas? That's what I would love to know. UN backs plans for hurricane-proof floating cities. I'm most uncomfortable with that just because the UN backs it, but that's food for thought, you know, especially with the whole UN 21, UN 2030 thing, and the with this whole super mega city thing, you know, that's concerning. It's concerning. Let's see, House Democrats to sue Trump over border wall emergency. And let's see, sorry for lives lost. Boeing admits faulty system part of chain of events in 737 MAX crashes. So, you know, sorry, folks. Sorry, our planes have screwed up and people have died. Sorry. Right? Sorry. I wonder if they're sorry for buying their approval. Because from my understanding, right, they didn't necessarily pass all the tests they needed to. Right? They kind of pushed, shoved, and bought their way through, from my understanding. Absolutely insane. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up the monologue because I'm like in overtime for a monologue here. And so, again, the link to Pastor Dowell's video will be down in the description. The link to our Etsy store where everything's on sale until, what was it again? The 12th. Thank you, baby. Until the 12th of April, 2019. No shipping is what the sale is. That link to our Etsy store, which will actually apply the code already, will be down in the description of the video as well. And I think that pretty well covers it. For those here for the live show, stick around. Don't go anywhere. Don't even blink. We're just closing up the monologue. For those that just watch the monologue or watch the recording later, thank you very much. As always, God bless you. We love you. And don't and be one with your spirit. All right.